practices in 1929 when it was, you can imagine, like you weren't walking into Chase Bank or Wells Fargo and getting a mortgage. Sometimes you can now, but you definitely couldn't then. And the way we did business is we joined together as
post that right there. Is that okay?
And supported each other. And we were able to teach people how to take back mortgages, how to buy their homes, how to create creative financing, right? That's how we got things done, right? There's always been obstacles for us, and there always will be. And that's why organizations like the Greater Harlem Real Estate Board are significant. We have some members here. Raise your hand if you're a member of the board. And if you're not a member, we need you guys, because there's still a lot of work to be done. I don't know if anybody see Wells Fargo again? Again? Like we're still doing this? So when people say, do we still need these organizations? Do we still need the D9? Do we still need HBCUs? If you're paying attention, right, what's happening now? We got a new president, what's he doing? Anybody looking for a DEI position right now? So I'm just saying, we think that things change permanently, but they don't always change permanently, right? So we still need these organizations. The Greater Harlem Real Estate Board was founded in order to create opportunities for people to buy properties and buy their homes. Why? Because that's how we create generational wealth. My firm, Ezra Realty, and you're going to meet Aiden later, but I still get people that come up to me that said that your grandmother sold us our home years ago. So they're creating wealth from something they did in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and their family's still benefiting from that. That's the power of real estate, and that's the power of what we do, and teaching people opportunities on how to buy and how to own and how to create wealth through real estate. And that's what we do. We advocate for home ownership. We teach people how to get free money, how to get loans, how to, all of that, right? And we have a professional organization of people that are super talented. So we want to make sure that we highlight so many of our members because we're all doing different things. We have people that are doing everything across the spectrum. So we want to make sure that we're sharing that information because there's enough business out here for everybody, right? So if you're not a member, jump on in, come join us. 96 years, we're going to be 100 soon. We're actually going to be honored. The Greater Harlem Real Estate Board is going to be honored at the 100th year celebration for Ezra Realty in November. You should come out to that. It's going to be fantastic. How many 100 Black years organizations have you guys been to? Not a lot, right? And especially businesses, right? So it's important that we highlight these things. It's important that we support these organizations. Because I'm telling you, just when we think we don't need them, is when we're going to need them. Yeah. All right, I'm going to bring Drew back up.
So just real quick before we start the program, one of the main highlights tonight is, as Russell talked about the different fraternities and sororities, all of these women being honored are Delta women. And as we know, I don't know the exact numbers. One of our trailblazers right here, Pamela Morrison, will get more into that. But it is said that Black women are 40% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. Yeah. So every year we have talked about doing a fundraiser for this cause. You know, Russell, Ramona, this is my family. We have felt it on a personal level. We're family where a lot of our family members have succumbed to breast cancer, have been diagnosed with it. So we felt like this was something very important, and we specifically want to highlight these women right here for community building, not just through real estate, but how they build up the community, period. So to present our first award tonight to our honoree, Pamela Morrison, we're going to have our member Shirley, who is a real estate agent here in Harlem and a breast cancer survivor.
sonogram visit. My doctor decided, hey, you're getting close to the age
let's just go and schedule a mammogram. And by the grace of God, and I say by the grace of God for a reason, because majority of doctors will only do a mammogram and say, go home, you're all good. So part of my testimony is I went and got a mammogram, and as normal, it says, good to go, see you next year. We are great. But by the grace of God, my doctor decided to do a sonogram. So I went from one room, sat into another room, and waited for a tech. During that visit, the tech took a little longer, and they were just going around and around, and I'm like, everything okay? They're like, yeah. She walked out the room, came back, and they're like, we need to take a core biopsy. Lo and behold, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had stage 1 on the right side. Then my doctor, surgeon, decided, let's do an MRI. MRI goes, we do a double scan, and they confirm the right side. Then later on, they're like, well, hold on a second, there's something on the left, right above your heart, underneath here. It's probably nothing, don't worry about it. But when we do the surgery on the right, we're gonna take a look and do a biopsy on the left. So I had the surgery on the right, then I got confirmation about a week or so. What we thought was just nothing was actually cancer, was stage 0. So if I had relied on the mammogram that said there was nothing, right? And thank God there was a sonogram to just give an extra look, deeper look, and the MRI was able to see not just one, but another one. Because we would have thought later on when this was growing, and probably wouldn't even notice it, oh my God, it came back. When it didn't, it was there already.
Wow.
And to segue into my wife had went through it, and he connected with her, and she literally just gave me love, encouragement, and she doesn't know, but God allows us to go through things so that you can then help somebody else do it. Okay? So you are a godsend, and you, because you endured, I was able to endure and be like, okay, I'm gonna be okay, because look at her. And as a mom of a son, and I'm a mom of a son, seeing you handle your son and loving him and being there, it just allowed me to keep fighting. So I want to present Miss Dawanna, but I'm going to give you a little bit of background. So Pamela Morrison is an accomplished accountant with extensive experience in the entertainment industry. She began her career at CBS Television as a production accountant before moving into the music industry as Director of Finance for Tommy Boy Records, a subsidiary of Time Warner. She later served as controller for Cornerstone Promotion and the Dabar magazine. After the birth of her son, Pamela took time off from her corporate career to focus on motherhood. During this period, she identified a need for youth enrichment services in her home community. In response, she co-founded KidBerry, an enrichment and development center for young children. From its opening in 2010 until its closing in 2013, KidBerry provided valuable support and resources to families in the neighborhood. In 2014, Pamela was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. Following a double mastectomy and traditional treatment, she embraced a lifestyle change that included improved nutrition, regular exercise, and alternative medicine. Throughout her recovery, Pamela found support through Harlem Share, a breast and ovarian cancer support group for women of African descent. In 2017, she became an ambassador for SHARE's African American Ambassador Program, where she helps raise awareness, provide education, and support other women navigating similar health challenges. Pamela currently serves as Vice President and Treasurer of Lamore Realty Corporation, a second-generation, family-owned real estate development, management, and brokerage firm co-founded by her husband, Kenneth Morrison. She holds a BBA in accounting from Pace University and an MBA from Dowling College. A proud Harlemite resident since 2003, Pamela has been married to Kenneth since 2007. Together, they are proud parents of their 17-year-old son, Maxwell. Pamela is deeply involved in her son's school, community, and is a committed member of the Bronx chapter of Jack and Jill of America, Inc. She is also a proud member of North Manhattan Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and is with my honor and pleasure to present Pamela with her award.
That was beautiful. First of all, I just want to say thank you to the Greater Harlem Real Estate Board for giving me this award. There's so many powerful women that are here tonight and doing amazing work in this community. And there are a few in here that are survivors themselves. So for you to even consider me is an honor. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for that. And I'm also truly thankful for your dedication towards raising awareness with breast cancer and celebrating these women that does so much for our community. With that being said, my name is Pamela Flood Morrison, and I am an 11 plus, almost 12-year breast cancer survivor. To my beloved sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, my sorors of North Manhattan Alumni Chapter, as well as the mothers of my Bronx Jack and Jill chapter, I want to thank you for your love and support. I had the privilege of walking these last 2 weekends in Making Strides for Breast Cancer Walk, and in both organizations we raised an incredible amount of money to support this cause. So let's start with that. So as I mentioned, I'm almost a 12-year breast cancer survivor, but what you don't know is that sharing my story has been a journey of its own. When I was first diagnosed, I was in complete denial. How could this happen to me? I was healthy, I was active, I thought I took care of myself. Physically, I was trying to cope, but emotionally, I was falling apart. But like so many other Black women, I told myself I was fine, I was okay, I'm good. My son Maxwell, who's here tonight, who was 6 at the time, went to school and shared with his classmate that his mom had cancer. Of course, I got a call from a parent and I was mortified. But what did I do? I assured them I was okay, I was fine, I was good. My husband Kenny, who's here tonight, did the same thing. He ran his mouth. He decided to share with all his colleagues that his wife had cancer. And then all of a sudden, flowers started showing up at my house and at my door, and then I started to freak out. And I tried to make it clear to everyone that I'm not sick, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm good. But deep down, I wasn't fine. I wasn't okay and I wasn't good. I had this disease, but I wasn't the only one carrying it. Everyone around me was carrying it too. They were telling my story, but I couldn't bring myself to tell it. But it wasn't until I joined the support group Harlem Share, as Shirley mentioned in my bio, and they are an ovarian and breast cancer support group that support women of color. Things started to look a little bit different for me. I walked into a room of women that looked like me, Black women who understood what I was going through, and I wept. I wept so hard that I came home with a migraine. That was the first time I said out loud, I am sick, I am not fine, I am not okay, and I am not good. That was the moment of truth when my healing started to begin. I quickly learned that breast cancer doesn't discriminate. It can hit anyone at any time, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're active, whether you're not, and it hit me. So I saw on the website, the Greater Harlem Real Estate website today, that they had a post of this event tonight. And they put some facts up that Drew talked about. So I just want to give a few facts. That are some painful stories about how breast cancer really affects our community. The incident rate of breast cancer is higher in Black women under the age of 45. I was 44 when I was diagnosed. The mortality rate for Black women is about 40% higher, as Drew mentioned, than for white women. Breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths among Black and Hispanic women. Black women are more likely to be diagnosed at later stages and harder to treat stages. And we are disproportionately affected by more aggressive forms of the disease. So, I want to thank Harlem Share, and especially Desiree Walker, our group facilitator, that's the glue that keeps us connected and informed, but also encouraged me to become an ambassador so that I can share these facts, this type of information, share my story to help others, and that I can share my story to heal myself. So through Share, we've built a community where women of color can speak their truth, find support, and extend hope. As a part of the proceeds from tonight's event, they will go to Harlem Share, an organization that continues to support me, as well as remind me that Black women have always been the true architects of our families, of our communities, even when we are not fine, when we are not good, and when we are not okay. My journey has taught me that survival is not about what you endure, it's about who you become after. It's about showing up and sharing, even when it's difficult. So, I accept this award not just for myself, but for every woman who has fought, who is still fighting, who refused to be defined by her diagnosis, and some who are in this room tonight. To my fellow honorees, my sorors, and to all the phenomenal women here tonight, keep building, keep leading, keep sharing your stories, because when we share, we heal, when we share, we inspire, and when we share, we change lives. Thank you.
All right, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2. 3, 2, 1.
So, for our next honoree, there's so much to say about her, but I'll just make this as short as possible. And Dawanna, I apologize if I miss anything. Your rap sheet is very long. So Dawanna Williams has a bachelor's degree from Smith College in Economics and Government, master's degree from Harvard-Kennedy School, and attended the University of Maryland Law School, and is licensed to practice law in the state of New York. But that's just about her background. And the reason why I don't need to read off a sheet is because my cousin said something to me the other day when we were on Zoom, and it really reminded me of Dawanna. He said, we're at a point in history where they're trying to cancel out our stories. You talk about book banning, and he said it's important that we tell our stories. Now, Dawanna, anybody that knows her, has a heart of gold. She's not only preserved, developed, NYCHA PAC deals, built up communities, give people affordable housing, part owner of the office building on 125th Street where the National Urban League now has its headquarters. But it's something that I feel like people don't talk enough about. And one of the biggest tragedies that people talk about in American history was September 11th. And on September 11th, they always say that was the only attack on American soil, terrorist attack. And one of the things that we pride ourselves about in this country is the fact about that building being rebuilt. But the thing that they don't tell you is that a black woman also helped rebuild that building, and that black woman is Dawanna Williams. It's going to build one of the buildings. 5 World Trade is Dawanna Williams, is one of the people who is helping build 5 World Trade. And the reason why that's so important is people have talked about something like that for years. And when history talks about it, they often like to point to white men. Because if we went on qualification, the last election wouldn't have played out the way it was. So when I see Dawanna and all the work that she does in the community and how important it is, it's not just important for the fact of everything that she does with affordable housing, with creating economic opportunity, supporting the arts at Dance Theater of Harlem where both of my daughters attend, but it's important that little girls growing up can see somebody that they want to be like. Because oftentimes in history books, it's not people who look like us, especially with black women. She's one of the founding members of the New York Real Estate Executive Council and also a member of the Real Estate Executive Council. And speaking of that, somebody who I just told I'm going to put on the spot is somebody we like to call the Godfather, Ken McIntyre over there.
Yeah, I'm completely unprepared for this, but I'm Ken McIntyre. I'm the CEO of the Real Estate Executive Council, and I want to be brief because it's just been a blessing for me to have an acquaintance with Dawanna, to also have her as a member of my organization, but as you can see here, to have black women achieving in the commercial real estate industry is a very, very powerful thing. And Dawanna is a great representation of that. To Drew's point, I actually was at the Port Authority when they were doing the deal with SitePod. They came in with the package, and Dawanna was part of the team, and the people at the Port Authority were like, is this gonna work? And I said, no. You need to worry more about Larry Silverstein than you need to worry about Dawanna. So it's just, I'm blessed and honored that you were getting honored here today, and it's just, I know you didn't mention Apollo. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, what she's involved in and how she is a great representative representation of how to give back, to participate in your community, give back in your community, and be a role model for your community is something that I'm going to have my daughter emulate going forward. So thank you.
First, thank you so much, June, for this honor. I did not know I was supposed to give a speech. But just, thank you so much. I am just so full, not for myself, but because of Pam's story. You know, I think I want to say something, not about myself, but I lost my mother to breast cancer in 2013. She was diagnosed in January and passed away 9 months later. Pam said something very real, and I want everyone to take this home. We as Black women get diagnosed typically at a later stage, as was my mother. It was a late stage, and with a more aggressive cancer. Hers was triple negative, which is very different from being protein positive. There are treatments for protein positive breast cancers, but for triple negative, which is the most aggressive and disproportionately affecting Black women and Ashkenazi Jewish women, tends to be treated with a cocktail, much in the same way that when people were treated with HIV early on, it's a cocktail. This is kind of a similar approach. So I want to mention that early detection is so important, and I don't want to land on a low note. I attended law school, as you mentioned, and my very best friend from law school, who's the former mayor of Baltimore City, Stephanie Rollins Blake, is just a wonderful person, but her mother was one of the first doctors, Black female doctors in the state of Maryland. She was diagnosed by early detection of triple negative breast cancer. And she is, I'm here to say, she's like a godmother to me, a 35-year survivor. And I just to highlight that early detection is everything. So women, please don't take it lightly. Get your mammograms and also your sonograms and the high-tech follows behind it. This is so important. And just thank you so much for having me.
And our next honoree, I'm gonna give my cousin Maurice the opportunity to, but my good friend Adeola Adejobi, Spelman undergrad, Cornell Law School. You know, that's something else we want to stress to those of us who have daughters getting Black women into law. Adeola runs a bunch of different great networks. One of them is the Diversity in Commercial Real Estate, as this is a white male-dominated industry. And it has really helped create an ecosystem for us as Black commercial real estate and real estate professionals, something that we'll touch on about just us working together in the future. She's also a member of the Real Estate Executive Council, also a Harlem Unite. But I'll let Maurice touch a little bit about it as kind of a testimonial from GCREB.
Thank you. And thank you, Dawanna, for bringing it out. I mean, the reason we're here, honestly, is breast cancer awareness. So I don't want, if we walk out of here with one thing today, it's what? Early detection. Please. Get tested. Get detected. Raise your hand if you've been affected or you know someone has been affected by breast cancer. Get tested. Please. I know as a community, we don't trust doctors, but please, I beg you. We're gonna bring up Adeola. Adeola is a special person for those of us who are in the community. You guys know her. She runs the DCRE. Raise your hand if you've ever been to the DCRE function. And if you haven't been, why are you missing out on this? Let me tell you, like, this is one of the highlights of the year, this event. The networking, the information that she provides is just phenomenal. So I'm talking to her one day, and she's like, that's not my real job, right? I'm like, all this time you have another job? I'm like, you're like, we're Caribbean. I'm like, we got a million jobs. But Adeola is great. At one of her functions, I met the partner on the deal I'm doing in Newark at one of her events. So if you think you don't meet people, you don't do deals at the event, you do. Or you should be. So she's doing amazing things. If you follow her, you'll see the event is absolutely phenomenal. Some of the people here have been speakers at the event. It's incredible. So make sure that you go check it out. She's a Spelman woman. I actually brought my daughter to speak to her. I was like, talk to her. Look. I'm like, if she ends up like Adeola, I'm like, I did good in this life. So I want to bring up Adeola and give her this award.
And just one more thing I want to touch on before she gets this award. Diversity, the word diversity, is not a safe word today. So anybody that knowingly puts themselves out there for our community, whether it be the Greater Harlem Real Estate Board, the Real Estate Executive Council, needs a badge of honor themselves. Because we are watching organizations be told you will lose your federal contract for sponsoring diversity events. And she essentially puts a target on her back for us.
I guess we know that. Thank you. Well, I think, I'm going to kick it off with DEI. I think we're changing what that means, and I think folks are saying now, definitely exemplary individuals. One, I'm honored to receive this award. I think it's always an amazing thing when you receive awards from your community. And I have so many stories and testimonials about people in this group. DCRE is close to my heart, but if you haven't been, I would love to see you there. We have people from all over the country that come. And, I'm from Oakland, California, and, there just aren't a lot of us in the real estate business. There or in a lot of other places. So people fly from all over the country to come here to network with us and do business, and they're serious about it. So I'm really excited about Russell's deal. I want to see the site, the cranes and stuff are moving, the truck, all that good stuff. But I do want to highlight a couple of folks that are in this room right now that have also, been a part of the fertilizer of my tree, if you will. I would say, is FOT still here? FOT, I don't know if he's still here, but I was a part of the REAP program. I think Ken was on the board at the time, and he talks about affordable housing, and I knew nothing about it. I knew I wanted to be in commercial real estate. I didn't know what it was, and I was like, oh my gosh, you can help your community and you can make money. That's for me. So I went on to HPD, and I've been there now for over a decade. And interestingly enough, one of the largest deals that I closed when I first started was Derek Lovett's deal. Hello. You probably don't remember me because it was 4 in the morning when we closed. But I think that was deal was like July 2016. I don't know if you might not even have been there by the time I showed up. But yeah, there's just so many people in this room. Ken, as well. Sonia, we were in the REAP program together, and we're going to be, doing some deals together. So, at the end of the day, for me, what's happening in the environment is not going to stop me from doing the work. I was doing the work before, we were doing the work before money was available to do it. So I think what we're doing now is we're just getting back to it. We're putting pen to paper. We're rubbing these pennies together and figuring out how to make it work. So I'm just excited to be a part of this community that's been able to do this much so far, and I look forward to what we're all going to be able to do together.
Yeah. So last but not least, now nearly least, is somebody who everybody knows if you're from Harlem. And that is Alyah Horsford. Alyah Horsford-Sidberry. Look, Alyah Horsford-Sidberry. But Alyah and her family do amazing work within the community. Anytime you could look up, I remember people would talk about how much of a special place Cove Lounge was. And even though that was a moment in time, that's a true testament to who Alyah is. Whether she's doing things with Jack and Jill, Glow Care, with women's, black women, maternal health, which as we all know is a big issue. And being here tonight, I'm gonna pass the microphone to her longtime friend Kenyatta Punter, along with Rob Horsford, and if her husband could actually come up, I didn't even know he was gonna be here. Alyah, so I'm still mad at Alyah, because I should be at Cove right now at Caribbean Thursday. I'm not embarrassed to say I spent many a night in. Alyah's like, what are you doing here again? I'm like, don't tell anybody. But I have a lot of memories of that place. It was awesome. She changed the community. That was one of the first times we actually had a place that we could party in our own community and support our own people. So proud of you and everything that you're doing.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I've known Alyah for pretty much over 30 years at this point. She has a heart of gold. And one thing I can say about her is that she's about her family, she's about her business, and she's about her community. I consider her a sister. She was one of the first people that I met very early in my real estate career. Matter of fact, I met her and her brother Robert simultaneously. We hit it off just like that, and we've had a long and storied relationship together as real estate professionals, together as family members who take our kids from anywhere to Hershey Park to Martha's Vineyard every year, and all points in between. In terms of business, she is a consummate professional. She's an entrepreneur by spirit, and she is driven. You mentioned Cove. Yes, we were in there day in, day out, weekend in, weekend out. You know, we weren't just there, but as business people, we knew we weren't just there to have a party and hang out and have drinks and dinner and hors d'oeuvres. We were there to support a business, a black business, a black woman-owned business in our community. And we never collectively, all of us who went to Cove, we never lost sight. I can't even remember how many times the real estate board had a Christmas party or an event at Cove. I cannot remember how many times Kenny and Pam had their Christmas party at Cove. You know, this is what we did. We did it out of love, we did it out of intelligence as business people, and she always gave that back. And now she's turned a dime and gotten into politics, moving and shaking, looking one day for you to run for city council, and points beyond. This is Alyah Horsford-Sidberry, the woman I cherish, the sister I love, and the friend that I have. Robert, please.
I'm gonna make this quick. I've known Alyah for a pretty long time. We're about as close as you can come to being twins. I mean, we've done any and everything together for as long as we've both lived. We've been partners in, business and life and everything. We were close until, this guy came along and screwed it all up. But she's an amazing sister. She's an amazing leader, politically, business-wise. She's the leader of our family. She leads the family in every way.
You know, she leads the elders and she leads the younger, and she's kind of been that way probably since she was less than a teenager. And I appreciate you in every way, and appreciate all that you do. I don't know how you do everything you do. That's politics, that's business, she leads the family. I don't know where she has all the time to do all these things. But you're amazing. You deserve all the awards that you get. And congratulations to all these amazing women who I adore as well. And thank you very much. Are you nervous?
I just want to say now you know I'm pissed off at her shit up.
Really quick, because I know most of you in this room. But what I want to say, I'm getting too emotional. Pam, I love what you're doing, and something you said was so important, sharing your story, and how important that is, how you can help others. I have many friends who have breast cancer. Robin and I lost my grandmother to pancreatic cancer. 8 years ago, we lost our younger sister, So, we know in America, Black women get it first, right? And it doesn't matter if you have great health care, no health care, they see us differently. My sister had a great job, she had great health care, but no one was checking in on her after she had that baby. Didn't matter. So, check up, I have to say, I am guilty, women. I do all those things and I take care of all. I have my sister's children, her 3 children when she passed away. And honestly, I don't know the last time I had my breast check, but I'm going to do that after today. Because what we have to do as women, especially women of color, we put everyone, we put our children, our family, everyone first, and we forget to take care of ourselves. So if there's anyone in this room, like me, who hasn't been in the event, I implore you to go, because I'm going to do that tomorrow, make an appointment to go. So thank you for sharing your story. I'll share my story. Let's all share our stories and let's get checked out. Thank you.
So the last part of this event, we are a real estate board, and we want to have a fireside chat with these 3 women in their real estate career. But I do want to point out, please, we don't care if it's $5, $10, donate towards Share, Harlem Share, because the point of this event tonight was to raise funds for it. Pam, we love you. You stole the show. As you can see, you mean so much to so many people in this room. Words can't even describe it. So this next segment, we are going to lead into a quick fireside chat. I'm not going to hold everybody up too long. And we're going to be moderated by the Greater Harlem Real Estate Board's Secretary, Rashida Brown. They call her RB for short, and she always talks about how people couldn't pronounce her name growing up. And we put this event together for a good cause, but I must say, me and Russell are 2 men, and it will fall apart at times. And I want everybody to really give a round of applause to RB for holding this event together. She just wants a not-for-profit in her own brokerage because she's big on home ownership. You know, it's so funny because the powers that be that are telling Black people it's not as important to own your own home. And we do know that is one of the quickest ways, one of the best ways to build wealth
build generational wealth. So she does a lot of home ownership seminars on 125th Street. Her and Russell was a Greater Harlem Real Estate Board. That is definitely something you want to attend. Feel free to speak to any one of our members. I don't know if Nina's still here, Christina, Evan, are you here? Nina, Christina Evan, this is our vice president as well. She also was, like I said, the two guys, a big part on why this event pushed through by getting here early. So I would also like to give her a round of applause. And to sincerely thank her for her help, as she just did something with Maurice Gray, my cousin, when they went in the Thurgood Marshall and introducing kids to real estate. You know, that's something that we also do, period, where we're going to introduce our kids to opportunity. We're no longer going to leave it to other people to do it for us. So, I thank everybody for coming. Thank you, RB, Nina, thank you again, and I hope you guys enjoy this show.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to formally introduce myself. My name is Rashida Brown, affectionately known as RB the Realtor, because sometimes people have trouble pronouncing my first name. So I try and make it easy for everyone so we can always focus on whatever the information or the reason why we're here. And the reason why we're here is because we are trying to raise awareness for breast cancer and honestly just overall good health, right? I myself, I'm Harlem native, and then also have a family member that grew up and lived right in Esplanade that was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we lost her, unfortunately, to breast cancer. I also had another cousin that was diagnosed a little bit too late in stage 4 for colon cancer. And she was a mother of 5, worked on Wall Street, very successful, and unfortunately, they had given her a few months. With our family supporting her, she was able to actually go on for 2 more years. But her youngest child, when she passed away, was 5 years old. So her eldest, that graduated from Delaware State, actually took in his younger sibling, similar to what Alyah did for her sister, and raised them. And so early detection is so important. I can't stress that enough. I'm echoing what other people have said because I've lost other members to cancer, and unfortunately, I think in our community, we don't take it seriously enough, and we don't take that out of prevention. So being able to have people understand that it's important to get checked for all things, including cancer, is important. I know once my cousin Alberta had gotten diagnosed with colon cancer, we all went to get our colonoscopies, whether we were of age or not. And so it shouldn't take a scare or something very detrimental like a loss of a loved one for you to want to go ahead and get checked. So I just encourage everybody to do so. I am a member of the Greater Harlem Real Estate Board. I sit on the executive board, and I am so honored to be a part of this event with these amazing women that are being honored tonight, and also with everyone else that is in the crowd. Having a strong community of like-minded individuals is so important. And to be able to sit among so many giants in the industry is not only inspiring, but has, along my path, encouraged me to open my own brokerage, the Building Key Real Estate Brokerage, and also my nonprofit that supports home ownership, which is the Key Path Foundation. So we have some questions that we would love to ask the honorees tonight. And so I guess we'll do it one by one. And we'll try and keep it brief because you've been wonderful and patient in this presentation, but it has been amazing to hear the stories. So I guess we'll start with Dawanna. So, how are we doing?
No, they each have a microphone.
Do you? Okay. That's great. So reception of our elected officials, Alyah. I had a question because, one, it's important for everyone to understand why, right? I chose residential real estate, but you all have chosen to work with commercial. And so we wanted to know the reason why you chose to work in commercial real estate over residential. I'll start with you, since you're first.
Yeah, thank you, and that's a great question.
Perfect. You know, I think, well, first of all, I think for all as Black people, I think generally the first thing that we are introduced to is residential, but I also think I was like just curious and asking questions, and I was interested in real estate since I was in college, 20 years ago, so it's 20 years ago, now. But, you know, and so you're just kind of like out there, you're writing books, you're trying to figure things out, and then as you're kind of doing that digging, you're finding other people, you're finding other things, you're meeting other people. And then I was in New York, and I heard about the REAP program, and I heard that that's a great way to transition into commercial, which is what I wanted to do, and then being there introduced me to all these other aspects. So I think that generally in the market, I think that Black people are pushed into residential and are not afforded the opportunity to do commercial. And for me, I think that's why I have a commercial real estate contract, because I just want to choose more people to the space and help people be successful.
Thank you for that. Okay. Dawanna?
Well, I started out, is it on? I started out working as a residential developer and commercial to commercial. But, and I think it's important to the scale is smaller, and you have your team and figure out what's good, and where the risks are in business. So I don't discourage people from getting involved in residential real estate, because I think there's a lot you can learn before going into or starting commercial development, because a lot is at risk. It's a capital-intensive business, so there's a lot of risk. So I recommend at least doing one deal as a residential developer and then more with commercial. So my why is I moved from residential, maybe developing brownstones, to commercial, to larger, to mixed-use buildings, because I wanted to have broader impact. I see that a lot of our communities really needed people that cared about where they live. You know, providing people with quality housing, not just housing, but quality housing. Providing people with amenities and services. I started out as a commercial real estate lawyer, and I was representing a lot of the large developers across the city. I was at a large law firm. And I saw what they were providing in these really large developments that people from more marginalized communities were not afforded. So I thought I would do something in my smaller community, which at the time was Fort Greene Plain Hill, and at the time was not the global brand that it is today. So I thought I could do the same thing, and started and jumped from developing brownstones to purchasing small apartment buildings, and filling them not just with good and better housing, but also with things like dry cleaners and banks and things, services, and things that we needed that were so crazy to say, they were not present on DeKalb Avenue in Brooklyn on the late 90s, early 2000s and on. So that the broader impact was my main reason. And business-wise, you know, to release the business, there's more diversification, there's more stability in commercial real estate than there is in residential. There's also the opportunity to do public-private partnerships, working with cities and informing them about best practices and what to do to provide better for our people.
Thank you for that. So to Alyah, I would like to ask you, what does being a member of the Sigma Theta Incorporated mean to you?
Well, that's the easy one. I'll just start with, for me, the three most important things is clearly the sisterhood. It's also community service, and then it's also the social action, which for me, that's what I do, that's what I believe. So to do it with a sisterhood that has the same mindset, that wants to do it for our community, and our community that is really about the work, is the most rewarding for me.
Thank you. Okay, so Alyah, you've built a strong reputation as a businesswoman and a community leader. What inspired you in your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, honestly, I have to start with our grandfather. My grandfather had a real estate business, so Robert and I grew up in a real estate business. He had over 14 buildings in Harlem, apartment buildings. So we did everything from the books to the cleaning, to painting. So it was just part of who we were. And then as we got older and we wanted to, sometimes when you want to take over family business, it doesn't really work out how you think it will. So we tried that, and then we started our own company back in 1995. And piggybacking off of what you said, we went from small apartment buildings to doing big commercial deals so that we could have a greater impact. And we built over right down the block here, actually up the block, 149, 148th Street. We started with 6 buildings that were low-income housing. And it was just so rewarding to build affordable housing back then here in our community where people can stay, live, and have a nice place. It's wonderful what they're doing now with low-income housing, but what we did back then, that was rewarding for me. So that's where it started and kind of where we grew, and it's still giving back. And also making some money at the same time, right?
Thank you, sis. Okay. Okay, many know you from Cove Lounge, that we wanted to just know what motivated you to create that. And what did you envision for the community at the same time?
So, first of all, I don't know how everyone's in here, but from a teenager, I was inspired to have like a lounge. And there was a movie out called Strictly Business back in the day. I don't know if y'all remember that movie. I was like, oh, I want to do that. That's what we did. But really, that's what sparked it decades ago. And we had a building that used to be a daycare. They moved out, and a liquor store was going to go in. That fell through, and I was like, hey, what about that lounge I wanted? And I was so determined then, because not everybody believes in your dreams, but you should still go for your dreams. I said, I'm gonna buy y'all out. I'm gonna take my time, and I'm gonna build Cove Lounge. And that's kind of where it started. But I wanted to do it because at the time, we only had one place to go here, and that was nice and quote unquote upscale. And that was Mocha Lounge, which people used to think I had stocks in Mocha. We had every event there. So that's really what inspired me. Like, we need more, not to do better, but we just need more. We need bigger spaces, and it was born out of that.
Thank you. Okay. I'll give a round of applause. Okay, so I'm going to move down the line to Dawanna. So there are some people that have had different starts, right, in real estate. You said that you had downward in residential, and then you transitioned into commercial. I myself have converted single-family homes to multi-homes, so it's on a smaller scale. But for people looking at you, they want inspiration, and they want to know exactly how you were able to not only, I guess, get started in development, but then how you were able to evolve to where you're at today.
Part of the, I do get that question sometimes, and part of the answer is one that people don't necessarily want to hear. There's no magic to it. As I mentioned, I started out buying brownstones, acquiring brownstones, first of my own. I simply needed a place to live. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, so some of it perspective. Being from Atlanta, I came from a city where people believed in ownership. It was something that was a part of my psyche, that one owns, and also that Black people own, and that Black people can be financially secure and wealthy. So that was a perspective that I came from. So when I moved to Brooklyn and they said the rent was $3,387, I said, hold on a minute, that's the price of the mortgage. So I went across the road to, this is in Park Slope, I went across the way on my rollerblades. This was 1997. And the broker said, well, where's your parent? I said, no, it's me. Looking at this brownstone. And I recall that the partners at my law firm said, why would you live there? Clinton Hill at the time, that was, as I said, not what it is. And I was a commercial real estate attorney, so I had that advantage. Looking at the title and the records, you could see that the same architects built those townhouses in Bed-Stuy and Clinton Hill that built them in Park Slope and Brooklyn Heights. So, as a new person to New York City, I kept trying to understand why is the price 10 times less than what it is across the bridge. And the only thing I could come back to is this is just an issue of racism. And I started talking to everyone in this room. I formed a real estate club, and I started trying to tell everyone I knew, hey, you need to buy in this community because the value is the same. It's just the mental block that makes you think that it's worth less. I could not get one person to purchase a brownstone. I will not tell you, I ended up buying that brownstone, I ended up buying 2 more. I will not tell you how much they were because it is embarrassingly low. And from that, I learned a valuable lesson, just as you just said. If you can't do it, you can't, I know a rising tide lifts all boats, so that's why I did it. That's why I got the club. But if you can't get people to come along with you, you have to do it yourself. So that was a long way of saying sacrifice. It's taken me 18 years to become a quote-unquote overnight success. It was literally one building at a time. And people today start these funds, which are wonderful, and they can go out and acquire a lot of money through investors, which is great, and I can do that today too. But you don't have to do that. You can, over time, do exactly what I did, and that's the way that I did it. And by the way, I want to say thank you to Ken, who is here. He is a part of he is the executive director of, or the president of the Real Estate Executive Council, of which I'm a member. And also, I want to say thanks to Robert Horsford and Kenny Morrison and Derek Lovett. We're part of an organization called the New York Real Estate Chamber. So you also have to network and collaborate with others because you can find your tribe of people that want to come along and who are like-minded.
Adeola, I got to ask you the question as well. You are in the process of transitioning to a degree from law to real estate development. What is making you make that shift?
Yeah, I think, well, I came into it with that kind of hat on. I also started at a large law firm, and I was trying to get into the business, and a mentor of mine, I got an offer from HPE, and, I never forget, we met in Harlem to talk about it, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going. He's like, why didn't you? I was like, I get how much they pay. And he's like, well, how do you think you're going to get experience? Who's going to hire you? And he's like, just because you're a young whippersnapper, just because you're a young lawyer and you can do the work, the business is structured in a certain way, and the people who are being advanced aren't doing it. And you're at the point where you're going to get the experience. And I was like, but the pay. Because again, I'm just going to at this point. And he's like, don't think about today. He's like, you're young. Think about 25 years from now and the experience that you're going to get. And he's like, are you really passionate about it? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, then sacrifice. And so that night, my stomach was hurting the whole time I was asleep. I couldn't sleep. I knew I was going to do it. but I'm just like, I have to change my entire lifestyle to make this happen. I cut, slash budget. And make that sacrifice, and also just be in a business where, you know, I feel like when I started before, which not that long ago, it's like a decade ago now, but people would go to some real estate events, like these larger ones, and tell people you weren't affordable. People wouldn't even ask you for your cars. They're like, that's it. Now, you say you're affordable, it's like, wait, let's have a conversation, you know? And so I think, to Dawanna's point, just having that vision and that foresight and having that conviction that what you want to do is what you want to do, and putting in that effort and that work, I think is really important. And so for me, again, I came in with that hat on, knowing that I'm going to have to spend, basically committing to the business, right? Because I think the great thing about real estate, I think, is you don't have to be in commercial to be successful. You can buy a house every 1 to 3, 4 years, and you can build wealth for your family. You can build you can build a portfolio. Like, but if you want to be in commercial, you committed to the business in a different kind of way. The conferences, the forums, the training, the money that you're spending, the relationships that you have to build in different organizations. And quite frankly, all of these organizations are important. This organization is important, NAREB is important, CURE is important, REIS is important. I'm in all of them. Because, you know, they're also like, I see this as an umbrella. And then there's just like very specific niches that also need to kind of be addressed in those groups as well, which is very important. So, you know, for the leaders of the organization, and that's not a question, but I really commend them and like commend all the people who take the time to create this environment for us to try to be successful, because this is unpaid labor that, you know, we're planting oranges, and I don't know if you know anything about oranges. I had a tree in my backyard when I was in California. It takes 7 years before you start getting oranges off it. It's not a bell pepper, that's what it is. It's not a tomato, that's what you, I trust me, to plant it all. I'm like, this orange tree is not growing. And when it does grow, and it finally happens, and you have that boom, it's great, but you're toiling for a long time. And I feel like, to Dawanna's point about being in the business, you know, for 18 years, and talking to Kirk and some other, because Kirk was helping me also learn in his past life, it just takes a lot of time and a lot of commitment, and that's something that you don't want to do.
And my last question for you is, what markets are you currently focused on?
Oh, great question. Atlanta market, Chicago. Interestingly enough, Oakland popped up, that's where I'm from, recently, so we'll see. And I think we're also looking at like North Carolina and Birmingham.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Dawanna, congratulations on the NYCHA CAC deal, renovating 14 buildings. What impact will this have on residents and the community?
Oh, wow. So thank you. Thank you. So a couple of things. We're fortunate enough to be developing our third PAC deal, and so we have a little bit of a system now. And you know, you read in the paper how every year there is the meeting of the rent guidelines board, and they decide how much rent will be increased or if it will be frozen. And you also see these meetings where tenants, or NYCHA tenants, are very afraid of developers coming in to renovate, because they are concerned that their properties might be stolen from them, or you know, their apartments might be able to come back to their apartments, et cetera, et cetera. So we start out with these developments with a lot of distrust, and the tenants don't believe that we really actually want to do something to help them, because they've been lied to for so many years, and the conditions are deplorable that they're living in. So when you show them this beautiful, shiny picture of what they're going to live in eventually, they think, you're lying. And it's been a journey for me and for them, because they go from really strong opposition. I mean, they curse you out. I mean, I have been cursed out so many times. And not just one time. We have to engage the community at least 5 to 10 meetings before we actually make it to putting a shovel in the ground. And so and a lot of people live in these homes for generations, so I'm talking about grandma, daughters, cousins, all the people that are associated with that one apartment. And For example, our first Brooklyn bundle, which was 2,625 apartments, had 200 co-developed partners. I mean, we had hundreds of people cursing us out on a daily basis. So, fast forward to eventually, I mentioned I'm from Atlanta. I do have a little bit of Southern charm. I'm not quite where I am today. I'm more dressed down. Start talking to people. Eventually, you do get a grandmother that says, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I'm going to take a chance. And once you get one of them on your side, you then let you in, and then you go ahead and renovate part of their apartment, and then they invite people. Eventually, people say, "Oh, I'm ready. Can you do an inspection on my place?" And it just becomes a contagion. And I cannot tell you the joy that you see and experience from tenants when they get their new apartments. They don't have to move out. You stay in your apartment. We go room by room, and that helps a lot. And when they come in and see their new apartments, you have a friend for life. I now have to attend all of these summer outings. But I'm so grateful for the opportunity to give back to them and to provide not just a home, but also I made a part of my mission to make sure that the community centers that have been defunct for decades are improved. The landscaping is redone. I mean, NYCHA wants you to do that, but a lot of times, some other developers don't get around to it. The landscaping is improved, there's seating outside, et cetera, et cetera. And so what it means to, I think, the tenants is just quality of life, refuge, a place to truly call home, and I'm grateful to be able to do that. By the way, I think Ken mentioned this, we're renovating the Apollo Theater. I just want to give that plug. Not paid for this work. My husband tells me I gotta stop volunteering. But the Apollo Theater is being renovated, and it's a labor of love. And I'm so grateful that in a year and a couple months, we'll be able to reopen it with new lights, new awning, and you'll be able to come back to the theater with new programming, everything new. That's another thing we're doing.
So I want to conclude this by saying thank you to Alyah, Dawanna, Adeola, and Ken for your impact.
She said something so important. She said not all developers get around to doing outside. This is why it's so important that we develop our communities, that we invest, because we can't wait that they're not going to care. Thank you.
And I want to add something real quick too. When I was first starting out as a young commercial real estate attorney, I called Dawanna. She didn't know me, and we met at some real estate. And I was like, "Can I get some of your time?" And she talked to me, and it was extremely helpful. So I think as Black women, as we have all these things on our table to do, like she definitely gave me time, and it meant so much to me. And now we're sitting here together, and I think it wouldn't have happened without her accepting that phone call. So I know Black women, we do it all the time, and men do it too. So just know that just having that conversation and planting that seed can really go so far.
I want to give an amazing thank you to all of the ladies, not only for participating today, for allowing us to honor you and highlight you for your great work, for your impact as individuals and also as a collective. You have definitely made a positive impact on the community at large, and I thank you and we honor you today.
Thank you guys, thank you to all of you. Just real quick before we plug our sponsors, I do want to shout somebody out. Kirk, thank you so much for spending live tonight on the DJ. Kirk is a real estate broker at Ezra Realty and the vice president of the Greater Harlem Real Estate Board. I do want to allow Maurice and Aiden to talk. Ezra Realty is our sponsor for tonight. They have an upcoming gala just before we jump. Pam, you guys can take pictures. Yeah, you guys take a picture.